In our tradition, we have what are called tokden, or yogis, who train for 15, 20, 30 years before they're accredited as being not only highly realized, but their realization stabilized. Before my Lama, the 8th Kamtu Rinpoche, passed away, he told his tokden that I have to give you this special teaching. Yes, I must give it to you. It's very, very important. Come tomorrow. So, of course, they all came very excited. Well, what's this special teaching that we're going to get? You know, I mean, we thought we had everything, but obviously something new. Wow. And what Rinpoche taught was something called the 7-point mind training. It's all about, you know, how to put others before yourself and how to transform negative occurrences into something which actually ends up as being highly positive. This is not just theory. When the Tibetan lamas, during the time of the communist takeover, were in prison for 20, 30 years just because they were lamas, not for any crime. And many of them were abused, tortured, interrogated, sent to hard labor camps. And physically, when they came out, many of them were, physically very challenged by their austere conditions. But the look in their eyes, I mean, their eyes were sparkling with joy and love and compassion, and they only spoke of how grateful they were to their jailers, to their interrogators, because through them, they had really understood the meaning of compassion. And so they were so grateful. They said if we'd stayed in our monasteries, we would have been able to debate these points, and it would have all stayed up in the head. But when you're faced with somebody who really does not have your well-being in their heart and has the opportunity to cause you great pain, then is a wonderful chance to actually put these purely theoretical teachings into practice. And they did. And the lamas who came out from the prisons were just extraordinary example of how we can take the most ghastly experiences and transform them into love. In the Tibetan tradition also, you do not read a text or a book until it's been read to you first by someone who has had it read to them. But that way it connects you all the way back to the author. The author gives what's called the lung, the oral transmission, and that's all those who've received it can give it. And so it goes on and on and on, down into the present time through the centuries. So therefore I will give you the lung. That means that I will just read it to you. Even though it's in English, it counts. Wishing to attain enlightenment for the sake of all sentient beings who excel even the wish-fulfilling jewel, may I constantly cherish them all. Whenever I am in the company of others, may I consider myself least important, and from the depths of my heart cherish others and hold them supreme. In all activities, may I examine my mind, and as soon as disturbing emotions arise, endangering myself and others, may I firmly face them and avert them. Whenever I see ill-natured people overwhelmed by strong misdeeds and sufferings, may I cherish them as something rare, as though I had found a treasure trove. When others, out of envy, mistreat me with slander and abuse, may I take defeat upon myself and offer the victory to them. Even if someone whom I have helped and in whom I have placed my hopes does great wrong by harming me, may I see them as an excellent spiritual friend. In brief, directly or indirectly, may I give help and joy to my mothers, that means all beings, and may I take all their harm and pain secretly upon myself. May none of this ever be sullied by thoughts of the 8 worldly concerns, and may I understand all things as illusions, and, without attachment, gain freedom from bondage. So this is the fundamental point of the Lojong teachings, that we recognize that the happiness of others is far more important than endlessly trying to strive for our own happiness only. And if we dedicate ourselves to bringing happiness to all those around us, then we find that actually we feel okay too. This is also here, the point of seva. People are joyful to spend their time helping and serving and being useful for other beings. And not just lying out on the beach, cultivating their own tan. It's a very important point on the spiritual path. Why are we here? We are not here simply to tot up more and more moments of sensual pleasure, sensual in the sense of through the senses. That we are here to cultivate the mind-heart. And the best way to do that is by relying on other beings to help us. So in that way, then, there's nothing which nobody is a problem. Everybody is an opportunity for us.